Okay, here we are. Says we're registered, so I shouldn't have to switch the audio back from the other mic. I do need to switch that back to yellow though. Gotta go over here. Anybody watching? You recording after? You can skip the first probably 3 minutes. As usual, I will try to keep this under an hour, if possible, even under like 45 minutes. Come out here, turn this on, even though it says Gaza in it, so it's probably going to get demonetized. But the algorithm didn't catch this one for some reason, so maybe none. And come in here, live, load. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There we go. And let's get everything we need. Starting with this. Also bring up that. Oops, no, I did not mean to click on learn more. I meant get out of my face. Where's the get out of my face option? Does that work? Okay, there, that works. Right, everything is ready. Both those are synced. No one registered. Is anybody there? Hold on. All right. Well, whatever. We're gonna go anyways. So, go over some minor oil and gas related stuff just to give people a potential minute to show up if anyone is coming. So, Namibia. First, stop bringing stuff up. Get off the screen. Get off the screen. Thank you. So, Namibia, the next Guyana, sort of, actually probably going to be more like the next Brazil in terms of oil and gas capacity. Most of everything that's been explored so far has been around here, just offshore of their southwesternmost portion of the country. And another field was just found recently. This one is smaller than previous ones. It looks to have a potential capacity based on what fields of a similar size usually result in for their startup numbers that they then decline from after a few years of probably 120,000 barrels per day on startup. So adding that to all the others, it's looking like in total since the first one should be starting in 2028 or 2029, by 2032 or 2033, Namibia should be up around 900,000 barrels per day. By that point, from start, they'll get up to that point within just about 4 years, at least with everything that has been found up to this point. And up here in Kazakhstan, after getting close to it, like climbing up close to it and sort of not really just reaching it for the last like 7 years or so. Kazakhstan has now, because of a expansion project in one of their primary fields right around here, partly onshore, partly offshore in the Caspian Sea, Kazakhstan has now actually finally hit 2 million barrels per day. They're actually just a bit above it at 2.03. So they're up there now, and with every other upcoming expansion, they should be able to eventually get up to around 2.5 in the next 5 years or so, not accounting for any other like new discoveries in places that have remained mostly untouched, which is basically everywhere that is not their immediate surrounding Caspian Sea area. So they have this general area and also some parts up here away from the more mountainous upfold areas where there would be unlikely to be anything. All right, down here we have the new fascinating development that came out of Trump's mouth and to not people's real surprise, but it was kind of a he wasn't supposed to say the quiet part out loud sort of deal. So Trump sort of admitted that the plan by predominantly Israel, since they're the ones actually benefiting from this, although he did his usual, big man America thing of, actually it's the US that's going to take it. It's not, it's Israel. But he did kind of blow the lid on the whole intent to forcibly relocate the remaining population of Gaza, which was also kind of inadvertently admitted to be, around 1.5 million, which, makes you wonder what happened to to the other like half million plus that, it originally had. It's kind of accepted that it was accepted that the real death toll was probably close to 100,000. But if everybody for a week straight before they all started correcting themselves was kind of saying this as the Gaza population, hmm, I wonder what happened to that, other half a million people that you're just suddenly forgetting about. It's almost like they're dead. But they quote unquote corrected themselves on that. And since yesterday, for the last 48 hours, have now started saying 2 million again. But, it's too late. Damage done. You kind of already blew the lid off the truth there. So, you know, tacit admission, half a million people dead. But, we all already knew sort of that it was, well beyond the claimed official only 37,000 count. So the quote unquote plan that Egypt and Jordan are just going to be strong armed into is to forcibly remove the Gaza population into Egypt and Jordan, probably either via threatening to cut Cairo off from military aid and supply, along with basically the same deal for Jordan, either threatening to cut both of them off or offering to like give them a whole bunch of junk, or I don't know, maybe even agreeing to pay like double fees on the Suez Canal or something. But so that's happening. Not that that should really surprise anybody, but that is something that is now happening, or that rather it's something that's now been admitted without being directly admitted to be an actual end goal that's going on. And apart from that, stuff is now intensifying in the West Bank. The IDF is continuing to move additional forces in and is rolling through a number of towns and engaging various resistance groups. Whereas some of the stuff, yeah, previously it was just some spec ops infantry stuff, but now they've actually started gradually rolling everything in. So only a matter of time before kind of more widespread drone strikes and actual like decent bombing campaigns end up starting up. since they are, via that non-admission admission actually seizing Gaza. They are now, oh, they added the dotted lines here. Yeah, so this was the original Golan occupation line. Looks like they've added the new dotted line here. This further area, yeah, let me get the actual borders, because this is the border, and then it falls down like that. So this was the border. This was the original Golan occupation zone from decades ago that Israel has retained. This up here is the new one that they pushed into post Assad's fall. And they haven't added the stuff in southern Lebanon, but they've also, said that they're not leaving southern Lebanon either. So this is kind of like a really gradual, inch by inch outward land expansion that's going on here. That is now also, once they go full scale with this, probably going to end up in a few years, including basically all of the West Bank as well. And on top of that, there is still the upcoming strike campaigns and confrontation that they, at least supposedly for the moment, intend to go all out with Iran, as they have said that they do intend to actually just go ahead soon and start striking Iran's nuclear research and nuclear enrichment sites. But we'll have to wait and see if they do indeed go through with that, or if they decide they want to just focus everything temporarily on the whole not land expansion, but really just land expansion thing. All right, then up here, after we checked, see if anybody showed up. Yes, but no. Okay. All right, so up here, now it's getting even more interesting. So to start with, there's a new offensive in Kursk that just started like yesterday. So this is all we know of for the moment. That they've started to, that is heading southeast. So hold on, let me try to get that. Okay. Poke it out like that, then come down like that. So yeah, okay. All right, so it is there. So yeah, around here is like the general pocket blob or whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to retrace the exact shape of it, but it looks like from thus around the Sudza area, the push is going out towards the southeast. So it'll take another like day or two for anything really specific to come out of that, because like I said, that just started yesterday. But things that did not just start yesterday, that have been ongoing for now, we're up to a month and a half of nightly Ukrainian drone swarm strikes into Russia, as Ukraine's drone production capability, their manufacturing capability, both pace and scale, has, as of a couple of months ago, actually reached parity with Russia's production of Shahed drones. As for over a year and a half, Russia has been nightly launching waves of Shahed drones into Ukraine. However, as opposed to striking anything important, they're primarily striking completely random apartment complexes and restaurants, and sometimes literally traffic lights at an intersection. All these like tens of thousands of drones that have been sent on this, if they'd actually like targeted any kind of like Ukrainian military targets, that could have over this time caused like real extensive damage and actually like benefited Russia's like further advance attempts. But apparently the idea of using those drone waves to actually target anything critical has just eluded everyone in planning up there in Moscow. But now Ukraine has reached output level parity and has been doing nightly drone strikes into Russia for a month and a half straight now. Previous targets that have been hit have included the Ryazan oil refinery, depot in Bryansk, along with a factory in Bryansk that produced. Oh no, sorry, that's not Bryansk. That's Ryazan. That's Bryansk, where an oil depot and a factory were hit. This is Voronezh, where a refinery and an oil depot were hit. Numerous airfields and munition storage sites in Rostov and Krasnodar. Another one which was just hit yesterday morning, I think, or it might have been last night, along with, oops, have to clear these to be able to go up here, along with a depot, refinery, and pumping station up here in Tver. That the wide one is Tver, right? Whereas that's, yeah, Tver is the wide one. Novgorod is the northern one. Okay. Along with a pipeline pumping station, since, the oil doesn't teleport, it's like moved around through various like pumping stations through a pipeline network that, I don't know the exact look of it, but like it'll have all its different spider legs and stuff go in different places. One of those pumping stations was in Tver. That got hit and taken out, and that has cut a major line of oil flow up north to this port up here that was exporting about 700,000 barrels per day. So that has been shut down, and some of that can be diverted to other ports, but not all of it. So since that is probably going to, in net loss total, be like maybe 300,000 barrels per day that can't go in. That Russia's going to have to shut in up in their main producer region, which is, not good for such wells in that type of climatic region of the world, especially also dealing with permafrost. They've begun that further shutdown, but well, as of the end of last month, as of a week ago, they had shut down a further 60 or 70,000 barrels per day. So we'll find out what the total number for the shutdown was, obviously, by the end of this month, since the data is as of the end of each month. Although Russia, in quotation marks, no longer officially releases their oil and gas data, but everybody else does, and all the different outflow rates and like consumption stuff and export levels and pipeline flows also, like everybody else that's connected with them does. And so, that's kind of pointless because it makes it a bit tedious, but you can just do a workaround with basic math. So there was no real point to like stopping the data release other than just like trying to be difficult. But more stuff has been in the last 2 days. In Krasnodar, another hold on, it glitched on me for a second. In Krasnodar, this one here, an airfield was struck with primarily the like massive storage of bombs was targeted, and also I forgot which specific like spot, but another another oil or fuel storage depot was targeted. And can we zoom in, please? Oh, have to do this. Right, there we go. And also, the refinery in Volgograd was targeted and hit twice, actually, because after the first hit, it looked like it did not completely go down. So after they put out the fire and they were talking about, like, what repairs could be done and how, it probably wouldn't take too long, maybe only a few weeks. After, publicizing that, it immediately got hit again, like a few days later. And so now it's out. So that's another 300,000 barrels per day or so of refining capability that is offline, bringing Russia's total refinery loss to about 1 million barrels per day of refinery capacity, which they do have more oil refinery capacity than the amount of like refined fuels that they domestically consume. So they can still produce enough for themselves in terms of refining it. However, they taking like if you just shave that million off the top, that is taking off a million from uh, from like higher revenue export stuff because you get more you get more big dollar money from exporting refined fuels, gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel than you do for just shipping out like crude oil itself. Switch to here, and then we also had in Astrakhan, we had a gas processing unit that was taken out that processed about 300 million or million cubic feet per day or 0.3 billion cubic feet per day of gas, primarily into condensate, which then can also be then further made into other liquid fuels. Just a bit more expensive to do that three-step process than to refine stuff directly from petroleum. But so that was taken out. So that is a capability lost and a small gas production hit because now that like there's a bit of a loss of places to go for the gas, some bits of it have to be curtailed after the winter because Russia's domestic gas consumption is much higher during the winter, obviously, because it gets cold in Russia than it is during the summer. So during the winter, it has plenty of places to go internally because everybody needs heating. During the summer, when the demand goes low and they're otherwise trying to export stuff, or would be if they weren't cut off from a large number of customers, barring Turkey, China, and via LNG shipments, India to some extent. The They would otherwise be exporting it. Let's see what else was struck. Oh yeah, and also, where's the ICBM thing? So you may remember a few months back, Russia launched a ICBM. They launched an ICBM at Ukraine, something that costs like 15 plus million dollars per unit at least, maybe more than that, but we'll assume the minimum of only 15. And, that they used an ICBM to launch a regular, plain old warhead as in, like what you could just drop from a bomb from a plane, like just regular bombs. They used something that we humanity designed for the sake of carrying nuclear warheads. The stuff that goes up and out of the atmosphere all the way back down onto targets. Expensive stuff. They used that to deliver a regular, generic, you know, regular sized bomb. And now they tried to do it again, except this time it blew up. It did not make it, and somewhere along the way, it exploded into pieces. Also, since these are their older ones, they were trying to develop new ones, and they were testing them up in, I'm pretty sure, the Murmansk area. But when they were testing those, the new ones, they exploded in silo. So they're gonna be having to stick with the old ones, and so far it's 50-50, since one made it to its target and one just blew up midway. So 50-50, totally epic fail rate. That's some real awesome stuff. Ah, yes, don't worry, we're getting to the donkeys. Where were the donkeys? Oh, well, this was a funny comparison here of some Russian publications about back in 2021, before the invasion. In 2021, the Russian papers or online press were talking about all this like fancy new stuff that the Russian military was going to have, and they even had those propaganda videos with those Elysium humanoid droid death robot things. And now they're releasing stuff nowadays, saying that it's completely normal to be using donkeys. You know, totally, uh, totally top of the world superpower stuff there. Also, again, not showing the videos because those show people's deaths and body parts flying. But these are out there if you want to watch the combat footage yourselves. You can see all the different like FPV strikes, the various like bonsai charges going on and stuff. Here's some of the footage from the different. Really, that's the biggest you're gonna make it. Seriously, come on. All right, I have no control over this. This is. Oh wait. Okay, never mind. That's actually decent. Usually, when you enlarge it, it goes to like 140p, but this is actually pretty decent. So these are different pieces of footage from the various most recent drone strikes. Here's a picture from one of the. Is this the? No, that is the processing plant, the gas processing plant, not the refinery. Is this? This is the refinery, and that's more combat footage stuff. This is gas processing plants. Actual video from the gas processing plant burning. The stuff from this is okay. This is both, and I can't tell which is which. About this one, this is supposedly the refinery, but the person put some stupid Instagram filter over the camera. All right, but yes, we got donkeys. We've got war donkeys. So, for those of you who may remember, a certain country uh, back in a certain war about 80 years ago, you know, had a myth around it about how epically hyper, super, ultra, giga chad, panzer mechanized it was. And, while the actual field marshals were in control, the level of like blitzing tactics they did was, impressive enough. But the thing is, they started to run into some issues that they just didn't have the total integrated logistical flow capacity and manufacturing base upkeep and like ready supply to actually keep all this going at a legitimate modern pace, modern for what was at the time. So unspecified country in the 1940s had to, back behind the front lines. They were, in fact, using horses and donkeys to pull carts of supplies and ammunition and food and everything. Now, for propaganda's sake, they did manage to hide that quite a bit. But, history is revealing and does not really spare or show mercy to anyone. So the reality of that ended up coming through. And now we got Russia resorting to donkeys behind the front lines to pull carts of ammunition and other supplies and stuff, which, it's kind of interesting because people were starting to call out and say that estimate of Russia only having a few thousand military supply trucks before the start of all this, people were starting to say, that was fake, that was wrong, and Russia actually still has like a million billion tribajillion of them because Russia epic, Russia strong. However, now they're not materializing. Where'd they go? Where are these extra billion supply trucks? Or even just Ladas or Jeeps or whatever other civvy vehicles, Scooby Doo vans. Where are the Scooby Doo vans even? Why are you using donkeys? Why are we? Where's the recruitment thing? Oh, forgot about this also. So, you know, most likely that Russia manages to evade a number of sanctions via having stuff, bought by one country that what the no, I want pen, not highlighter. No, bought by one country that's supposed to be part of X alliance, but is actually on its own goals and wants to, do certain stuff, certain, neo Ottoman Empire esque type stuff. But that's a story for another time. The stuff gets bought by one country and then gets, bought by someone in another country who's totally going to use it, and then gets bought by someone in another country who's totally buying it for themselves. That gets then bought by someone in another country who's totally buying it for themselves, who then resells it to Russia. Now, this does come at like a decent bit of extra cost since, these people aren't doing this because they want to help you. Each one of them, each one of these multiple middlemen, wants a cut of this. So this is coming in at a like decent upped price compared to just straight up buying it. However, apart from that, it also comes in at another cost, as somewhere along the lines, whether it's the Ukrainian SVU, I think, the Ukrainian SVU, whether it's the CIA, whether maybe even it's Kazakhstan itself doing this to help, hasten Moscow's downfall to secure its own future position, and so that it will only have China to worry about. Although it won't actually have to worry about China for that much longer, anyways, for other reasons. But whoever's doing it, somewhere along the lines, uh, Russia's supply chain has been compromised because the VR goggles, basically, that they're buying to use to control suicide drones on the front line. Uh, Somewhere along the line, people are putting small bombs in those, bigger ones than the pager bombs that the IDF put in the pagers in Lebanon, but not big enough so that they would like be popping out of the goggles. But a few times they've managed to actually catch these, and so this is becoming an actual thing. Uh, what else? What was I looking for before we went up to that? Oh, yeah. So you guys remember previously, maybe we should go to a no, the blank Google pages aren't blank. All right, fine. We'll just go here. So you remember Russia had after the mobilization fiasco, they realized they couldn't do that because that actually got the population kind of angry. They started doing the offering, big money cash handouts to sign up to go die in Ukraine. So people, thinking they're the main character and they'll actually survive and get and be able to, use that money. Plenty of them signed up, and they were getting about like 30K a month, and started going down, started going down. Now it's down under like 20K and falling to uh decent rates. So to try to counter that, although it didn't work, Russia started at the start of last year really upping the payments to where they've gotten up to offering 40K sign up bonus, cash out, and 100K of debt forgiveness. However, the thing is with this one, you don't actually have to do that one because you can just send the guy to die and then not write off his debts because what's he going to do? Complain about it from the grave? So that's not actually real, but this is, they do, the guys signing up maybe think they're the main character, but they're not that dumb. They do actually stick their hand out and demand the cash up front. So Russia has been paying the cash up front because these guys wouldn't actually sign up if they weren't doing that. But it hasn't stopped this decline though. So now, since the one of the only other things they can think of now to try to pull more dudes in without doing another mobilization round is undoing their like restrictions that they and basically any other military on Earth have, which is for the most part that people with severe medical problems, having STDs, having high blood pressure, or having psychosis, that's going to be awesome. Giving people with guns psychosis. So normally people like this are turned away by military recruiters, again, in most countries. However, one of the only things left they can think of is let's not turn them away anymore. They have this, they have high blood pressure, they have, this STD. Well, oops, sorry, I have to do this. Come over here. Uh, they're being sent in meat waves and they're all just gonna die anyways. So I don't know. I can't really do a skull there. That's a skull, okay? That's the best you're gonna get. They're all being sent to die anyways. So I mean, it's not really like they're looking for it's not really like they're expecting to train like competent Spetsnaz dudes or anything. They're literally just being sent to like bullet sponge for the sake of gaining like 100 more meters of cornfields somewhere in western Donbass. So that's like the last grab they could think of now. Now that at first he was going to, but now he kind of isn't. He's been sort of flip flopping on whether Kim Jong Un's willing to send more dudes. But even if he was, he's only sending 13K, and a lot faster than that. So this was like one last thing they could think of. If this doesn't keep cutting it for the numbers, they're going to end up having to try to do another draft run and just see how the public takes it. And that is the current run on things there. So I did all the Russia Ukraine stuff. We did the crazy Gaza stuff. Already touched Kazakhstan and Namibia. I think, yeah, that's probably it for this one. How long have we been going, anyways? 40 minutes. All right, just about. So we're just about at the normal limit. Bow Rain Dash. Some kind of inverted version of the name Rainbow Dash. Don't ask me how I know that. I remember the 2010s. I remember the 2010s, brother. Better times. Basically anything was better times than the 2020s. By all means, I would love to go back to the 2010s. I'd actually, you know, if we could take this level of like connectivity with us, like if I could just take Discord back with me so that I could have constant like in touch communication, like instantaneous chatting with like all my friends from different countries, since I kind of have more people that I talk to like globally than just within the US nowadays. If I could take Discord back with me, I'd actually like to go back to the early 2000s or the late 90s. But I would definitely take the 2010s. I would take the 2010s since the 2010s I actually lived back up home before my exile began. And in the 2010s, you could feel it. You knew it was over. Like you knew it at the back of your mind that like it was over. The game was up. But throughout the 2010s, there was still enough there to where we could pretend. Like you could still live as if it wasn't over. Even though, like, if you know what I mean, at the back of your mind, you knew it was. But there was just enough there to where we could still pretend for a little bit. Unfortunately, that game's over now. And now, here I am in the southeastern US, in this burning underworld where it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit in winter right now. I want to go back to my Arctic darkness, snowy darkness. But okay, that'll probably be it stream wise for this one. For videos, if anybody's new or if anybody hasn't seen some of the newer stuff, the USGS just put out the MCS 2025, which is the yearly or annual update on mining output levels of different metals and minerals. Can we load, please? Can we load, please? Can we? So, that one, I go over the different trend updates and various supply issues with everything, along with showing the graphs, obviously. And these graphs, along with all kinds of other graphs. Seriously, any graph you want. And I try to maintain and update them as frequently as possible. Those are all available in the Google Drive, which is down in the description under any video, along with the PayPal and Patreon links. And you'll find all these folders in the free resource and data Google Drive that have, and each folder contains, like this, for example, this one, electricity demand graphs, showing the average electricity demand load over time on each country's grid and fluctuating throughout like seasons and stuff. That's just one example. But there's, all kinds of stuff there, and that's free to access and use at any time. You can use it in like your own content, even if you want to. Just like if you suddenly make a huge like truckload of money off of it, like you make, I don't know, 10 grand off a video of your own or something, like if you could throw me like 2% of that, maybe that would be nice, but that's not required. I also finally did the wind power video I promised, where we go over and show different patterns of like where like wind power legitimately works and actually gives you like a constant electricity load because of certain regions where there's like actual eternal wind patterns. So that's some of the most recent stuff. So you can go and check that out if you want. Also, actually, the I'll have to add that to the critical videos playlist. But this critical vids playlist has like all the most important, quote unquote, like bigger subject matter videos that I've done. So you can also find any of those there. And if anybody else has anything, then I'll wait a few seconds for the delay and respond if I have to. But otherwise, that's where I'm going to cut this for tonight. Thank you. That's the first comment I've gotten from. Well, that's the first Russian I've seen named George Harvey, but I'll assume that's a cover name. But that's the first time. That's the first time I've heard a Russian viewer say that. 'Cause most of my most viewers from Russia that used to speak a lot uh, either started like just repeating the same comment of you're a CIA shill clown, I'm unsubscribing, or they actually like legitimately went Z, since that's the term now. My Thankfully, the Russian friends I have like in Discord, like art groups and writing groups, are really not Z. Uh, they're really anti-Z, and they were anti-Putin like before any of this started. Also, it's not just groups, people who would inherently not fall into that category anyways in the first place. What was that? That other dude said? Yeah, no. The 2020s. What's defining the 2020s is called a reality crash and grab. As we're past the we passed the point. We passed the highest point, the peak of prosperity, availability, of attainability. Now, people usually will contest that, the 90s and 2000s being the peak of like human prosperity, availability, because, X country down here was having a civil war, or actually, sorry, Libya was in the 2010s. Algeria was the one having a civil war in the 90s. What about this country that was having a civil war? What about this country that was having a famine? I didn't say everyone around the globe was like literally living perfect lives in the 90s and 2000s. I was just saying that was when our technological, when the things that technology did for us and allowed us, along with our energy yield ratio as a civilization, that was when it peaked completely. We had the highest combined factor of those two. Technically, our highest energy yield ratio was actually back down here in the 50s and 60s. However, the combination of that, because it didn't really go down that much in those decades up to that point, and the advancement of technology and the things that those allowed us, especially by and in the 90s and 2000s, that combination is what made that time period the like peak prosperity era. And then you had '08 and snapped back from '08 and started going down. And like we could sense that it was going down, but it was really slow. because more stuff started going forwards in the 2010s, there were more tech developments, just enough to where like it still made things feel like they weren't going down. But then we hit the 2020s and we absolutely see what's happening now. We know where it's going. But the thing is, I have to veer off from everyone else in who is in the category that people usually accuse me of being in. That is called a quote unquote doomer. Everybody else continuously says, you know, humanity is doomed and we're all going to die by 2040 and civilization is going to implode and cease to exist. That is not what's going to happen. We are heading down. However, we're going to have a curve off like this because there is a floor. There is a floor, a basement level that we won't actually be able to fall below unless we try. You know, if Yellowstone or some other super volcano erupts, if we get hit by an asteroid, if we actually do lose our minds and actually use nukes at some point, you know, we can go below that basement. But there's a basement level that uh, gas, coal, nuclear, even hydro, plus the long term, although more expensive liquid hydrocarbons won't actually allow us to fall below. So actually take ourselves below the basement unless we intentionally and the other thing is also the level of that basement technically can actually get raised up as the population of the earth inevitably starts going down and there are less people like drawing on stuff, the basement actually would start picking up for everyone else. However, uh, that is more going to be a long term thing because although the global population is peaking a lot sooner than people think, since right now it is about 8.9 billion, or sorry, 8.09 billion, whereas most population clock websites, and I put that in big quotation marks, most population clock websites will tell you something ridiculous right now, like it's already up at 8.2. It's not, it's only at about 8.09, and it's slowing down decently fast because those population clock websites, I've said this before, they only update their algorithms like once every 5, maybe 10 years, and they you know, don't do their own calculations on anything. They kind of trust public statements from, you know, some governments who claim that like their birth rate or fertility rate has not changed in like 4 or 5 years. It's just stayed exactly the same magically somehow. And I only circled Moscow because Russia was right there. They're not the only ones doing this, I promise you. There are others doing this, and not just them. Who else? Who else was? Someone else actually got exposed for that recently. I can't remember who else it was. Someone got exposed for like leaking their real data when they weren't supposed to. Uh, I f- I don't know if it was Egypt. It was someone in the Middle East. One of the Middle Eastern countries ended up like accidentally confessing their real data, and then immediately, obviously backtracking that. But someone ended up like actually admitting their real data, and or oh no, sorry, it was Syria because after Assad fell and everything was in chaos, the new people like taking over the government, like saw like the data papers and stuff and just like said like, oh, well, this is the number right here. And then even the new like government uh, still did one of the same things that Assad did, which was to say, whoa, 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 no, 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 the birth rate's not that low. It's still up towards like 3. It's not that low. In reality, for Syria, it's actually now down around 2.2. Uh, in unofficial reality, but it's down there. So human population is going to be peaking in the most likely early 2040s now, probably around 9.3 billion, maybe as low as 9.2. And then we're going over. Wait, I have those. I forgot. These are another set of graphs you can find on the thing. No, they're in population. On the free to access resource drive. Yeah, I have to adjust this because it's actually moved more towards right around here. So if you do an adjusted version, hold on, red would actually look better on this. If you do an adjusted version, it's actually going to look more something like, I'm going to try to get this as smooth as I can. It's going to look something like this. Or hold on, let me make that smoother and I can't I can't do it. I can't make a curved line. I'm failing at making a curved line. All right. But yeah, anyways, that was a completely like side road tangent that I did not intend to go off on because that lasted another 5 minutes. Oh, I know the whole blah blah blah. 90% of the population supports Putin is a lie. Like everybody knows that's a lie. I'm not claiming that like I'm not claiming that's real or anything. But I was just saying uh, the particular like commenters I used to have went Z. All right, then this is probably going to be it. And what was that one other thing? Like I said, go to any video, any of the videos I've uploaded in the last 6 months or so, and the link to the access drive is down there. Uh, I do apologize for anything that is like not updated to the minute. I try to update everything as fast as I can to like when said data gets released because data every different kind of data in the world is not like updated by every country every second of every day. Stuff's either on a monthly schedule, on a quarterly schedule, because financial quarters is how the world is dictated now, on a half year schedule, or just on an annual schedule, which is usually what the population numbers and like birth rates are updated on. But all that stuff is there in the folder, and I'm going to hop off now then, and I will see everybody around next time.